welcome to my Flosstube number 15. My name is Esther. I'm Danish, hence my name, Danish Stitcher. This is my Flosstube number 15, and this video might be longer than usual, and I apologize beforehand, but I have quite a lot to show you today, as well as I have a lot of things to talk about. Since my last video, I have tried the, how should we call it, the Zoom stitching chat, and that was a very nice experience. I think I was in the chat for about 4 hours. Okay, I did have a lunch break, but I didn't leave the chat. I just listened while I was eating. I didn't want to miss out on anything. And it was very nice to sit at home and stitch, and then being able to talk to other stitchers from around the world. And I'm definitely going to join that chat again every time I have the opportunity to. I can only recommend it. It's really nice, and you get to know people in a different way because you can interact with them. I would like to thank Michael from Star Parade. He said the most kind words to me when I released my last Flosstube after a break of 3 months, I think. So thank you very much, Michael. I also had a shout out. One of my newer stitch friends, Stitchy Lonka from Germany. I'm going to talk about her in a few minutes, talk some more about her. But first I have some shout outs for 2 other stitchers. Actually, you could say it's 3, because the first one is Matt Morty and her husband David. And they were in the chat, the Zoom chat. And after the chat, I started watching some of the latest videos. And the first video I watched was a video wherein David talks like Donald Duck, and it was hilarious. And I like their sense of humor and this kind of banter they have going on. That's very entertaining to watch. So if you don't know them, I think you should check them out and subscribe to them if you like what you see. The next I want to give a shout out. He has been around for a while. I think he's on his Flosstube number 28 or so, but he's new to me, and that's Chris X Cross. And I really like his sense of humor, and he's a very good storyteller. Yeah, and then he's a keen gardener. And as you might know, I'm very much into gardening myself, except for this year. Due to the diagnosis I received in April that I had this middle ear cholesterol, I didn't feel like gardening at all. But it's my hope that in 2022 I will get my garden back in shape, because it's really out of shape at the moment. And I'm happy that my garden isn't that big, because there's a lot of work to be done in it. But usually I like this work, and I think we will start, depending on the weather. If we have no snow in January, I can actually start gardening. Sometimes we have a lot of snow in January and February, and then I'll just have to wait. The last stitcher I will give a shout out today is the before mentioned Stitchy Lonka from Hamburg in Germany. She was also in the Zoom chat, and we clicked immediately. I think we have kind of the same kind of humor, and we are both kind of into nerdy patterns. And oh well, we both have a thing for the actor James Masters, so that might also be why we clicked so fast. she has a great sense of humor, and she only did start stitching 6-7 months ago, and I'm very impressed that she already stitched so much. And she makes her floss tubes in English, but she has recently begun doing some videos, stick junkies, in German, but some German floss tubers tend to do almost exact copies of the English videos and do them in German, but Ilonka doesn't do that. Some stuff is the same, but she also talks about stuff exclusively in the German videos and exclusively in the English videos. And so if you know German as well as English, I really recommend you to watch both languages. So go and check those stitches out and subscribe to their channel. Stitch Ilonka, I think it was Thursday. Stitch Ilonka came up with an idea to make an Advent start along, preferably with nerdy patterns. And I jumped in and said, hey, I'm in. But I don't think I have any nerdy patterns, so unfortunately I have to go shopping on Etsy. And so I did. And I will tell you more about what I bought later on. We have made a tag. Stitch Ilonka has made a tag for this Stitch Start Along, and you are very welcome to join us. So every Advent Sunday you will start a new video. No. Every Advent Sunday you will start a new start. And if you don't like nerdy patterns, you don't have to stitch nerdy stuff. But if you do, it'd be nice. Of course, you're welcome to join anyway. Yeah, I think that was the intro. In my last 2 videos, I have mentioned that I was going to abandon this Danish sampler I had started. Let me just show it to you. This one. Because I'm not a sampler person. I thought I was, and that's the reason why I started it, but I find it incredibly boring to stitch. And it's not that I have everything against samplers. It's just, I mean, I like watching what other people stitch. And I follow quite a lot of floss tubers who do samplers, and I like watching it. But it's not for me to stitch because I'm so bored. So therefore I decided to give this up and give it a new home where someone who appreciates samplers, especially the old ones, I could probably find some modern nerdy samplers that I wouldn't mind stitching. So, but these old ones, they're not for me. So the winner, and people have written in the comments to the last 2 videos, so I made us spin the wheel. They will get, of course, the whip, as well as all the threads and the original pattern. It's from 1977 from a Danish magazine. And I made a color conversion because this is the flower thread and this is DMC. So, and I will put everything in this one, and you will get this back as well. And on this piece of paper, it says the name of the fabric. So everything should be there. And I'm really curious where in the world I'm going to send this one. So let's see who wins. As you can see, I spin the wheel here. Linda Tuck, congratulations. Please send me an email. My email address is here with your mailing address, and I will ship it off as soon as possible. And I think it's going to Florida, right? Good. So now to projects. This week I have, since my last time, I've been working on 8 whips, but actually before I start showing you them, as you know, it's the first Sunday of Advent. You can see I have the House of Christmas from Galliana cross-stitch there, and this one up there is one of my own designs in Christmas colors. And here we have, yeah, I'll put the title down here. It's from a Dutch magazine. And over here we have Christmas in Nantucket. I think it's called Orange Street by Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. It's her design, or Hemlock and Rye. I think her company's, her stitchery's name is. I also have this basket here with a lot of pillows in it. Some of them are pillows that my father's sister has stitched, and last year I made them into little pillows. But I also found something else. This one you will only see as a picture, but it's a mini table runner that I made in, well, I think it was in 90 or 91. So it's, and it has got some stains, and I have had it at the cleaners, but they couldn't remove everything. But anyway, it looks better now than it used to. And maybe if I have some other only in photos, because they are already on the wall, yeah, I will just put in the pictures and then they write the name of the project if I know the name. But one that is also going to be just a photo of is Christmas Owls by Madame Chantilly, which I made last year, because that's already put onto the wall, as well as Hello Dear by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So this one, I don't know when I did that, but as you can see, I have stitched an even weave before. I had completely forgotten. The finish is not that good. I think it's from the 80s, this one. So it's a very long time ago. And well, yeah. And this one, and it's actually not that red. But you can see it's actually more maroon in the color than red. But as you can see, I think it's very cute. And it's not so Christmassy. It's more a winter. And you see it's made in 83. So quite some time ago. And I think the finish is okay. And it annoys me that I didn't write when I did these. So this one, I haven't got a clue when I did it. But I think it must have been in the 90s. And you can see the backside. I think my backsides have improved a little bit. It's not that important to me, but now I can see that I did improve anyway. So last year I made this one, Decking the Halls, from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I think I did all the stars and all the white stuff. I mean, the candy cane and the snowman. I think I did the white in glow in the dark. I'm pretty sure. Well, anyway. And then I also found one of my first Christmas stitching. It's ugly, and I do not put it on the wall, but I would like to show it to you anyway, because of course I'm not going to throw it out, but really it's ew. This one, as you can see, and the finish, if you look, Jesus Christ, you know, that was back when you really didn't have enough fabric. You really used all the fabric, and as you can see, I think it's on 8 count or something like that, but at least the stitching is all right. That's something. This one I really like. Here and there, I don't know if you can get patterns, kits like this, but here in Denmark it's pretty common that you get this cardboard that is like a window, and then you get a pattern that fits into it. And I really like this one. I think it's very cute. And then I think it was in the Zoom chat I mentioned that I had stitched an advent calendar, but I stitched it at the time where I didn't know the difference between the different sizes of counts. So this one should have been stitched on 11 or maybe 14. I actually think on 11 count, Ada. And what did I do? Hey, I stitched it on 18 count, which means, I mean, you cannot put on 24 little presents here, because you will ruin it unless the strings are so long that they go all the way down to the floor. So, but I still like the motive itself. Sometimes I put it up. This year I will not put it onto the wall, but I just wanted to show it to you. The biggest stitching for Christmas I've ever done is this Christmas tree skirt, and I think I'll just show you half of it. I don't know if you can see anything. I will just try. That, as you can see, there are 2 different motifs, one Santa Claus and one snowman. And I haven't got a clue what it's stitched on. I think it's called Ute, and I think it's count 2 or something like that. I did that in 1991, and it's stitched with wool, DMC wool, and as you can see, it's dirty. There's candle wax on it, but in my I don't know if it's the same in other families, but in my family, our tree skirts must have candle wax on them in order to be real tree skirts. So, and since I have used this since 1991, it does look well used, but it's still 100% all right. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, and now to my current whips. As I mentioned before, I have, since my last video, stitched on 8 whips, where 3 of them were actually new starts, and one of them was turned into an FFO, a fully finished object today. I'm not that sure that I'm satisfied with the way the the finish turned out, so I'll probably change it, but not before the Christmas holiday, because I don't want to spend more time on it now. But the first one is the Temperature Tree by Stitching Mommy. As you can see, I have done quite a lot on it, because the tree trunk is done completely, and I'm only 4 months behind, or 3 months behind now. And I have used all the hot colors, because we did have some days with more than 29 degrees of heat this summer. I haven't stitched on it for 10 days or so. I tend to take one day and say, okay, today I will do a month, and then I do the full month. I have written down all the temperatures and which color to use, so it doesn't take that long. I think 2 hours, and then I have stitched a month, the leaves of a month, and I think it's turning out very beautiful. I have managed to get 2 of my patterns from Cross-Stitch magazine into Pattern Keeper, which means that now I would like to stitch on them again. And one of them is Snow Way. I haven't stitched much on it because I didn't get it into Pattern Keeper until the day before yesterday. It's from Cross-Stitch magazine, December 2020. I think the designer is Emma Congdon. I'm not sure. One of my new starts was in the World of Cross-Stitch of November 2021. They started a 3-part series called Christmas Village, and it's stitched on plastic canvas, and this is the first time I stitched on plastic canvas, and oh boy, I mean, it looks really nice. I mean, the coverage is good, but it's so hard because I stitch in hand. So I can only stitch maybe 100 stitches, and then I have to stop again. But I don't think I need to stitch on a full piece of plastic canvas. So I think before I continue on this one, I will cut it here, because then it shouldn't be that hard to hold in my hand. But one thing I don't like about plastic canvas is that usually when I stitch, I use the sewing method. I cannot do it here. I have to stab instead, and it slows me down, and I don't like being slow at stitching, because usually I stitch, if it's not confetti heavy, I stitch around 220 stitches an hour. And I definitely don't do it here when I have to stab. I think I maybe stitch 100 an hour, so it's very time consuming. But I would really like to make the whole of this village eventually. It might take me some years, because this is all I did so far. And there are 4 sides to the house, as well as 3 or 4 pieces to the roof. And then how to finish it, it takes a long time as well, but I'm in no hurry. I just want to try it. And of course I'm going to finish this one first, and then try to finish it and see, okay, do I really want to do them all, or is it just this one? So that was Christmas Village part 1 that I have started. And the needle minder is a button I bought at Casa Chenina and turned into a needle minder. because I wanted a Disney needle minder. My pillow project, Star Pillow. I stitched on this when we had this Zoom chat, because I don't have to look at a pattern, because I know the pattern by heart. And the other day at work, I was in a 3 hours long meeting and I was able to stitch. So I think I got pretty far. And the silk is Misosida's oxide, and I love the way it looks. I think it's so beautiful. I'm stitching, for the first time, I'm stitching a stocking. It's not a Danish tradition with stockings for Christmas, but we imported we imported Halloween in Denmark, and a lot of people, especially those with kids nowadays, celebrate Halloween. I don't, but I do a lot of Halloween stitching because I like Halloween stitching. But when I saw this stocking, I just had to do it. I did stitch a little bit on it yesterday, but what I did mostly yesterday was some of the back stitching. You can see on the windows down here, and there's some windows here. So, and it's coming out nicely, I think. Yeah, and Santa still needs his reindeers. But now I have it in Pattern Keeper, and it will happen eventually. It will not be done this Christmas, but I hope I will have it finished for Christmas of 22. Captain John Hart from Torchwood, also known as the actor James Masters. I have started stitching on him again. Since November 22, where I started again, I have stitched 2,129 stitches. It's not that much, but it's better than nothing, and I think I'm about 75 or 76% in. So it's going the right way. And talking about Torchwood, my Advent start along had to be nerdy, and I found this funny pattern on Etsy, and of course I had to do it. I started it this morning, and I haven't gone I am not very far, as you can see, but look at the coverage. This is DMC 310, and usually it doesn't have that great coverage, but this is the first time I stitched on 20 count, and on 20 count with 2 strands it has very nice coverage. Depending on how long it will take for me to edit this video, I might stitch a little more on this, but I actually did have some plans for dyeing some fabric today, but I don't know. Well, the last project, one of my silly ideas. It's a poem. I made the pattern myself, and I call it Bloody Awful Poetry because the poem is really awful. But yeah, I think I have to put it like this. I will put up a photo of it so you can see it better. It's supposedly written by William Pratt in 1880. William Pratt is a fictional figure because it's actually Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer's That's his name before he's turned as a vampire. So it's really awful, this poetry. And now I think it took 6, 7 hours, 8 hours maybe to stitch it. And now I actually like it because I've been looking so much on it. So, but it was just for the fun of it. So, yeah. I think that was it. Now it's time for welcome to Curator's Corner. I have a lot of things to show you. I have some haul, but I would also like to tell you how I organize my projects, or what you could call planning or stuff like that. Where should I start? Yeah, as always, some DMC. Actually, I have a big batch of DMC coming in from Casa Chinina, but it hasn't arrived yet. I said in my last video that I had an order from Casa Chinina. That's the same order, but because I wanted a custom-made scissor with my name, Danish Stitcher, on it, everything got delayed, and the scissors, I don't know when I will get them, but now they have split my order, and now all my DMC and some, I think it was some beads, are on its way, and I will probably receive them the next week, in the next couple of days. So I have shopped some more fabric, not stitching fabric, but fabric for the back sides at spoonflower.com. There are more than 1 million fabrics in there, and I could go on and go on and go on and order and order and order, but that's why I'm a curator, right? Because I do have a lot of stuff, and I have this exquisite private collection of crafty stuff, and now I have some more. So where should we start? This one, it's called, and it's a fat quarter. It's called Snowflakes, Crocus, Snow and Ice. Maybe I should turn it the right way. And the reason why it looks like this is because I have washed it and ironed it. You might know that my favorite flower is the crocus, so when I see fabric with crocus on it, I gotta have it. And this one is called Purple and Yellow Crocus. Very beautiful, I think. And that's a fat quarter as well. And this one is called Springtime Florals. And I think I have to do like this so you can see. It's upside down. Like this. So you have aconite, crocus, and no, not daffodils, snowdrops. And you also have hyacinths here. So I think it's very beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but eventually it will be a backside of some project bag, I think. It has the size for it. And this one, if you like hedgehogs, you will like this one. I think it's adorable. It's very cute. You see those little hedgehogs, they are just so cute, and that's why I had to buy them. And this could be crocus. I'm not completely sure, but it could be. But I do think the leaves are a bit too wide. The next one is called Black Cat Spell. And it looks like this. I think it's a very beautiful black cat. And this one is called Christmas Night. And it's a fat quarter as well. I'll just do this. Some more Christmas. This one is called Noel Christmas. It's kind of vintage style. It's simple, but I like it a lot. And that was also a fat quarter. And then I bought, yeah, I am a little crazy from time to time. And of course I had to try, this is just 20 by 20 centimeters. This one, because it made me laugh. And then you put across it if you have a nice or naughty or if you tried. And I love the humor of this. So the next one is naughty. It's really naughty. So if you're not into naughty stuff, you have to look away now, because this one is called Snowman Sex. And that I also bought, this one I also just bought 20 by 20 centimeters, but I found it hilarious. I showed a photo of it to my 14-year-old nephew, and he laughed and said, "Oh, well, thank you. Now I know how I'm going to make the snowman this winter if we get a lot of snow." So, and if you were not into naughty stuff, you can look back now, because we are done with the naughty stuff. One more Christmas is called the Christmas Ornaments, and it looks like this. Very colorful. Maybe I should say that all these fabrics from Spoonflower, they are printed fabrics. But as you can see, I did wash it, and it still looks okay. And 3 more to go. No, 4. There's another Christmas one here. This one, Ho Ho Ho. Christmas Santa, it's called. I think I will write in the description box the name of all these fabrics in case you're interested in some of them. And then I found some that were stitching related, and of course I needed those as well. This one is called I Stab Things So I Don't Kill People. And it looks like this. And if I remember correctly, you could actually buy it in different colors. But I like this one best. And then I found this is called Embroidery Floss Small Scale. And it's just floss on bobbins and skeins. And I really liked it, and therefore I bought it. The last one I think is so beautiful. It's called Stitching Tools in the color of navy, and I think you could get it in 2 or 3 other colors as well. But look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? I love this stalk scissor. It looks so good. As I told you, I don't know what I'm going to use them for, but probably for some project bags. When I get the time to sew some of them. Okay. I got my silks from Mesoceras. I love her black silk number 20. It has such wonderful coverage. It's fantastic. I really like it. And then I got some gifts from her. First of all, a card. I'm not going to read the card, but some chai tea. And then this one, I think it's called Frankie. Yeah. And a little needle minder. So thank you, Rachel. But that was not enough. But that was not all. Because she also gave me, let's see, a skein, a black number 20, another black number 73, a brown 28, and another black of 73, and 27 brown. And this, I think it's kind of gray. It's number 19. Gray purple, something like that. And then, of course, I got myself some hanks, because I really love Miss Cedar's hanks of silks. And the first one is called Copper. And the color is not shown correctly, so I will insert a photo so you can see the true color of it, because it's way darker. I don't know why it cannot show it today, but very often when it shows something that's red, except for my hair color, because my hair color is shown correctly. And then Avatar. Look at those colors. It's so beautiful. I love when the colors change that much. That was my haul. Now we only got one thing left before this video is done. So I forgot patterns. I also bought patterns because I don't have any patterns that I haven't stitched. I think I have a list of 3 pages. Well, the first pattern I already showed you. It's this Doctor Who Torchwood. And these are the colors. Very bright. And it's going to look amazing, I think. And then for the second Sunday, I'm going to stitch this Raven cross stitch by New York Needleworks. I have for some time been looking for a Edgar Allan Poe pattern, because not that I have read a lot of Poe, but I do like what I have read, and 2 of my favorites are the Raven as well as the Telltale Heart. I love the Telltale Heart, but I also love this when the Raven says nevermore. So this is going to be stitched on this fabric, which I hand dyed myself. It's 16 count Aida, and I think it's going to turn this way. And I will use Mrs. Cedar's black silk for the Raven. Or for the pattern. It's not just the Raven. For the third Sunday, it's called Fellowship of the Ring. I love Lord of the Rings, and it's by Eluthian Cross Stitch. I'm going to stitch it on even weave because it has a lot of half and quarter stitches. And this fabric is called Pacific Metallic Blue, and it's a Lugana 25 count even weave. And maybe you can see it's sparkling. And I will use again Mrs. Cedar's black silk number 20. The last Advent Sunday, the 4th, I will stitch Wizardry by Stitch Fairy Co. And these are the colors, the DMC. And I'm going to stitch it on 18 count Ada called Celadon. So these are my plans for the Advents start along. So once you think that were enough patterns, what do you think? Twin Peaks Primitives made an announcement the other day on the Instagram that because of their birthday, they would give a pattern for free. And the pattern was called Winter Tranquility, and I really liked it. And therefore, thank you very much, because it was a freebie for, I think, about 24 or 36 hours on their website. So this is my first Twin Peaks Primitives pattern, I think. So thank you to you. When I watched Morty, she showed a pattern by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I'll put a picture up what she showed. And I liked it, but I wasn't completely convinced that I would like to stitch that. But I said, hey, what can happen just looking at Autumn Lane Stitchery's Etsy shop? It's not dangerous. And therefore I went to the website, the Etsy shop. And it was just a tiny bit dangerous because I bought one pattern. Something weak this way comes. It's been 30 years since I read the story by Ray Bradbury, but I loved the story. And I love this pattern. I think it's absolutely stunning. My problem is that I cannot find that fabric that they say I should use for it. And also I wanted an Ada. But I am going to try to dye the fabric myself in similar colors. Of course, it will never be exactly the same. But if I can manage to get it into these gray, lilac colors, then gray, yeah, whatever, then I think it will be all right. I missed the sale on Hate, Heaven and Earth Designs. But I just thought, well, I'm just going to look and put some stuff onto my wishing list and my wish list, and then I will have it for another sale. Huh? Do you really think I can visit Hate without buying? I thought I could. I was wrong. But at least I only bought one pattern. It's called Here Comes Santa Claus. And I was really thinking, why do I need another Heaven and Earth design when I'm not done with my quarantine cats? Actually, I haven't been stitching on my quarantine cats for 6 months, 7 months. But anyway, this pattern, I don't like the border of it. I do like the cats, you see, in the corners of the border, but I don't like the border. I think that will be a waste of stitching time. So I'm going for making just the circle. But I have no plans when I will start it yet. But now I have the pattern and I got it in my pattern keeper. But I will eventually kit it up. I will just stitch it on 18 count easy count Ada. And then I will eventually pick up the colors. I tend to keep at least 2 skeins of each DMC color, so I know that I can almost always kit up stuff when I suddenly have the urge to kit up new stuff. So that was haul. The last thing I would like to tell you about is because I have seen quite a lot of Flosstubers recently who showed us how they keep track of their projects and how they plan and stuff like that. I'm not a very good planner because I did try WIPGO this year, and the first couple of months it went all right, but then I got my diagnosis and it went. So I skipped the WIPGO for this year. I'm still trying to do WIPGO next year, but I will do it differently. I'm going to have fewer projects on them, and then my goal will not be that high. Because this is so typical me. Imagine I have a number is drawn, and in that month, when that number is drawn, I have to stitch, let's say, 4,000 stitches on a project. You can be quite sure that exactly on that time that number is drawn, I don't feel like stitching on exactly that project. But I would like to stitch on any other project but that one. So therefore I have some problems with the WIPGO. So I'm still planning how I'm going to do my WIPGO, and I think I will do something like maybe just say 1,000 stitches on a project in that month, and then put in the project maybe 5 or 6 times, because that will give me 5,000 or 6,000 stitches a year, and usually I stitch more than that. But then I don't feel obliged that I have to stitch on that particular project, because if I have to stitch on one particular project, it doesn't go well. So back to planning. So as I said, I don't plan much. The only thing I have planned for 2022 is another weather project. This one is by Jardin Privé. It's called Project Meteo. I'm not very good in French, because I like the idea. I did like the temperature tree, but I don't want to do the same temperature stitch every year. And what I like about this one is that, first of all, I can do the outlines of all the houses, or a month at a time, or whatever I decide. And this is definitely going to be one of my WIPGO goals, that I will keep it up to date. But you have the house and you have the roof, and the color of the roof will give you the minimum temperature of that day, and the color of the house will give you the maximum temperature of that day. And then there are also suggestions on how you can show on the house if there had been snow that day. So I'm looking forward to starting that one. But I have noticed a lot of Flosstubers, they have big planners, very beautiful planners, digital or in a book. Stitchelonka showed her. It looks very nice, but that's not my style, because I prefer to have as much time as possible for stitching. And I already said I'm a very bad planner. Maybe because I have to plan so much in my job as a teacher. maybe that's the reason why I'm not very good at planning what I want to stitch, because then it kind of feel like work. And I have 5 different classes, and I teach them in 2 languages, and that's a lot of German and English, and it's a lot of planning. So when I stitch, I want to stitch because it's fun, not because I planned it. So I used to have a little notebook, but I got tired of writing the same thing again and again. You know, design, title, dates of start, when it was FFO'd and stuff like that. So instead, I bought this notebook, and this is a notebook with blank pages in it. You see, blank pages. Then I bought some Avery stickers, and then I made on my printer. And as you can see, these are for my Advent stitch along. And as you can see, I shouldn't be doing this when I'm tired, because I have fixed it now. So now it's correct, but I still have about 10 of these where it's wrong. And as a, maybe not because I'm a teacher, it's just because I'm me. I hate watching spelling mistakes, but I have to live with it because these are way too expensive to throw out just because of that. So as you can see, I write down start date and when it's finished date, and then the title and the designer or which magazine it's from, and then which fabric and which floss, and sometimes how many stitches there are in it, or if I do 4/1 or whatever I think is important to know, and then when it's FFO'd. And when stuff is FFO'd, it will get a little dots, and all those are green. I fully finished in 2020, and the blue ones are those I finished this year. I started writing in the little notebook when I started cross-stitching again back in March 2020, and therefore I decided that I would actually write down my first ones too. So, and you can see all the green ones are those I finished in 2020, and I did quite a lot, as you can see, but I also have a lot that are not finished yet, but I have more than 40 whips. But you can see the blue ones are those I finished this year, and I'm not done yet. So, and this works for me. I don't say it's going to work for anybody else. Maybe it's just working for me. But I am so pleased with this solution, because from now on, every time I kit up stuff, I will immediately write this one, and then when I start stitching it, I will take the sticker and put it in my book, and here we go. And I can just sit down and stitch. So maybe some of you have gotten an idea now if you don't plan yet, and maybe you think it's completely crazy to do it like this, but it works for me to keep track of my stitching. And I noticed that a lot of you say, okay, and this one I gave 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. Every time I stitched on a project, if the project is in a pattern keeper, I will, when I'm done with it for that day, I will take a screenshot so I can see how many stitches I did that day. And then I will also take a photo of the project, how far I got. And that means I always have a lot of photos, and since all photos, digital photos, are time-stamped, I always know how many or how far I got on one particular date, and it's the easiest way for me because I don't need to do a lot of writing down when I stitch, but I do like to keep track on it, and in this way it works for me. So maybe you got inspired, and maybe not. I'm getting close to 400 subscribers, and I think when I reach 400 subscribers I will make a giveaway. So if you have been watching this video and you're not subscribed, please hit the little bell. And you're also more than welcome to follow me on Instagram. And yeah, I think that was it for now. And I think my next video will probably be around Christmas, just before Christmas or between Christmas and New Year. So if it will be after Christmas, I will hereby visit you happy holidays now. Bye.